What up, y'all? Welcome back to the vlog. It's Sunday. We got some adulting to do today. I gotta go get an oil change. I'm well past it. I gotta go get an oil change, gotta go get a car wash, and today I'm going to teach you what it's gonna take to start up a podcast. Let's go. Also, I wanted to say thank you so much for liking and checking out the last video I posted about making a t-shirt. You guys seem to really enjoy that. I didn't think that video was gonna do as well as it did, which I'm really happy about because it just goes to show me that you guys really like maybe an educational portion of some of the shit that I know that I've gotten into because I've tried and trialed a bunch of things. I really enjoy doing that, so I'm gonna do my best to try to teach you guys whatever I know or whatever I learned, so that way if it helps you in any which way to get you started with something that you've been trying to do, it'll help you do just that. Alright, so I got my oil change, that's taken care of, all the filters exchanged, whatever. That's done, car is handled. I was gonna go get a car wash, but there's way too many people at the car wash. I'm gonna scratch that since I'm going to be driving for 4 hours. My car's probably gonna get dirty anyway, so I'll probably wash it when I get back. Now, let's show you how to start a podcast. Okay, as promised, how to start a podcast. I'm gonna say that I'm trying to explain this in the simplest way possible, so I'm gonna try to make it as simplified as possible to get you going. Obviously there's a bunch of videos out there, and I'll link down the playlist that I personally followed on how I actually did everything step by step. This is more of a simplified version of what you need to get there, but should you need to go into further detail, follow the link below. I promise it'll help you. If I can do it, you can do it. So that being said, let's get started. Let's get the obvious out the way. Number one, for the podcast, you need an idea, a topic. Basically, there's different ways of doing a podcast, whether it's solo, by yourself, obviously, which is something that I do. Every now and then I'll have people on join with me. There's people that have co-hosts, there's people that do interviews specifically, there's also storytelling, so there's different types of podcasts. There's people that just do like drunk conversations on podcasts, which those are sometimes fun to listen to. So depending on how you want to do it, there is different types of podcasts, which is amazing because whatever you're into, there's some kind of podcast for it. Number two, what you'll need for sure is going to be cover art. And I'm saying this specifically if you're trying to get on Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts does have certain requirements which you'll need to get onto Apple Podcasts. If you're not trying to get on Apple Podcasts, doesn't really matter, skip this part. For Apple Podcasts, it needs to be like a simple logo. You should be able to see like what it is. It can't be like some kind of crazy logo on there. If you look through Apple Podcasts, you can see that majority of the graphic or the cover art that goes for most podcasts are pretty simple. They don't get anything all crazy, so they do kind of double check the artwork. The artwork does have to have some type of minimum and maximum as far as like resolution goes, which I'll put right here. Now, with the Apple Podcast out of the way, I would still recommend have some type of logo that you want to go for, so that if you do put it on Spotify, which is a lot easier, I would say Spotify is one of the directories that it's pretty easy to jump on almost immediately, as well as Anchor, which I'll get into a little bit later. So I would recommend having some type of artwork or some kind of cover art to get your podcast going. As far as what you'll physically need to record the podcast, you can go from starting on your iPhone and recording straight from your iPhone with the headsets it comes with, all the way to buying expensive gear. Not necessary if you're just trying to get started, maybe if you're just trying to dabble. Where you fall in between that is completely up to you. You can definitely just use your phone, and there's some apps that allow you to record, to basically make your phone a podcast recorder. For iPhone and I believe some Android users, I know Anchor is one of the apps that you can use where you can record straight onto your device and upload straight from there. Then there's others like PodMic and even SoundCloud that you can use. The second thing on the list for equipment is going to be the mic. The mic is the most important. The mic is what gives you the crispy quality audio, which is what you want if it's going to be listened to. Now this, obviously this type of media is going to be listened to in the car, people's headsets, maybe their Bluetooth headsets. So you want to make sure that is as good a quality as you can get it for your budget. So make sure that you have something that's worth the while. Again, there's a bunch of videos on different mics. One of the mics that I started with was the Blue Yeti. I think that's probably the one that majority of people talk about, is the Blue Yeti, which is a great mic to get started with too. So the mic is definitely one of the most important ones. I specifically switched over to a pod mic, which is this one that you see back here, because that one connects to the Rodecaster Pro, which basically, instead of my computer recording the information, this is recording the information. And this, I would say, is kind of overkill. This I only got because I wanted the quality to be higher and I wanted to have access and more control to sound bites and take calls and stuff, because I knew that I live far. So this was my alternative. This is what I went with. Again, you completely don't need that. It's kind of overkill. You can start with just your phone, or you can get something like a Blue Yeti that connects into your computer and record your audio that way. Now for number 3, depending on how you're recording this, you're gonna need some type of headphones. You wanna make sure that you can hear yourself and or you can hear the other person talking, to make sure that the audio levels are good and make sure that you're hearing yourself through that. Now, again, if you're using your phone, if you're using the wired headset, that has obviously the headphones and the mic attached to it. And the closer that the mic is to your mouth, the better it sounds. So you want to make sure that you're monitoring your sound as well as your guest if you are going to have other people on your podcast. So you want to make sure that you have headphones as well. And what you'll need also, just in case sometimes the audio isn't crispy or something happens in the audio, you'll need something to edit the audio with, which would be software. So number 4 is software. Again, there's Anchor that you can use for that, and if you have a Mac, you can use GarageBand. For example, if you're using the Blue Yeti and that's connected and you have GarageBand open recording, you'll actually be able to see all your audio levels, make sure that it's not peaking. What I mean by peaking is you don't want your sound to be distorted or in the yellow or in the red. You want it to kind of stay leveled out so you're not blaring through people's speakers or headphones. So software is super important. Also, if you want to cut out stuff that you don't want in the podcast, a bunch of
damn, ham, a fucking sandwich.
Or long pauses. This is where the software comes in clutch, because you can cut those parts out. Also put in your intro, your outro, and so on. So it's a way for you to cut down or make adjustments to the audio so you don't have to just upload whatever you recorded all the way through, because sometimes you don't want everything on there. If you don't have a Mac, there is Audacity, which is a software that you can download. That's completely free. I've personally never used that, but that is an option if you have a PC. So that's what you'll physically need to get this going, to make sure that you have your audio, make sure your sound's good, make sure it's recorded, obviously, to be able to record your episode, to be able to edit your episode. Once that episode's completed and it's ready to go, you're ready to upload it, put it out on the internet, show it to the world, you'll need a hosting site. Now, what that hosting site does, it provides you with what's called an RSS feed. And so what that does is once you upload it to the host site, what they'll do is basically push it out to all the directories. And what do I mean by directories? Directories is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. Those are called directories. So the RSS feed is here. Your episode is here. Your episode has to go here in order for that episode to reach all those other directories to go through. So that's what the RSS feed is for. And so you'll need that hosting site, whether it's, for example, Libsyn. I myself use Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout basically has the most user-friendly, the easiest way for me to understand and be able to get my recordings and my episodes out all from their website. So they give you a website, they actually give you 3 months for free, which I thought was pretty awesome. That's how I initially started. So they give you 3 months for free, and then they have different tiers as far as what your monthly is going to cost you, because obviously it's going to cost to be able to host all your episodes on there. So depending on how many episodes you plan on having and how long those episodes are, is basically where you figure out what tier you fall into as far as what monthly plan you want to jump on. I myself pay the $12 one.
A large? You got your money.
which I believe gives you 3 or 4 hours of recording time, which most of my episodes aren't even that long. Most of them are between 15 to 30 minutes. I think I've only had one episode that's been like an hour long. But other than that, I feel like that's sufficient for me. So whatever's sufficient for you, you can do. And again, Buzzsprout's not the only one that you can use. That just happens to be what I use specifically. Cool thing also about Buzzsprout is that every directory is on there. So they basically just help you upload all the stuff that you need and submit the information to get it onto Apple Podcasts, to Stitcher, iHeartRadio. So they make it pretty simple. That's why I like it. You just need one episode to get that RSS feed. It's kind of like a link. Once you have that link, you'll basically submit it to the directories one time, and it's in. And sometimes some take a week, couple weeks, 3 weeks, depending on who you're submitting to. The only one, like I mentioned, that is kind of touchy with it is Apple Podcasts. But as long as your artwork is good, then you should get approved within a couple weeks and it'll be on Apple Podcasts. Once that RSS feed is in all these directories, every time you upload an episode, Buzzsprout does a really, really good job of getting it out to every directory almost immediately. It happens almost real time, obviously depending on the file size. But yeah, that's basically how it works. That's how I was able to do it. Again, I'll link down below the playlist from Buzzsprout that I was able to use to make sure that I got all my episodes out. And they kind of break down everything into detail. They go into mics, they go into editing software, they show you how to edit an episode. So it's very, very informative. And I know that there's a couple of people that have reached out, said that they wanted to start their podcast, and I've been sending out that link like crazy. I am not sponsored by them. I just want you to be able to start. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I hope you guys got some value out of it. I hope that I was able to teach you something new. And I would hope that if you are planning on starting a podcast, you would start today. Don't wait any longer. Get your shit going. Get it started. It's not that hard. If I can do it, you can do it. So I hope that you got some value out of this episode. If you could please do me a favor, like and comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. It does help me out a lot. Not to mention, it gasses me up to be creating more and teaching you guys more of what I know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. So this is the equipment that I use. I have the Audio Technica's M30. Then I have the Rode Pod mics along with the Rodecaster Pro. So this is basically what records all my audio. And then these are customizable buttons here, so you can literally make those whatever you want. And there's up to 6 different panels of sounds that you can customize, which is kind of a lot. This is the audio for Bluetooth, so you can connect Bluetooth to that, meaning you can take phone calls. And basically, like I said, you have up to 4 mics that you can control the audio on. I currently have 2, so I'm only using channel 1 and 2. And then you can control the headset audio, which I also only have 2 of those, but it has a potential for up to 4. So again, not necessary, but this is specifically what I use. I have it on this little table that I've had for years. Basically, I just have the clamps attached to this table right back here, and these are just like cheap clamps from Guitar Center.